All right, we are good. So thank you everybody for coming to the Professional Development Lunch and Learn for the School of Nursing. And thank you all of our Delhi participants that are on campus. Nice to have you joining us today. This is Professor Julie London, and Julie is going to be presenting on GradeMark and sort of the ins and outs and assessing whether or not it's something you can utilize in your courses. So if everybody is not muted, please do so. We do utilize the chat option, and I'll be monitoring that during that, so that if there's any questions for Julie while she's screen sharing, we can see that. And this will also be available on the faculty and staff YouTube channel, and I can send that out to any of our Delhi people that don't have access to that from on campus. So you can let me know at the end, and I'll make sure you guys get a copy of the link as well. So I will hand over the screen and the microphone to Julie.
Thank you, Lori. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see so many faces. This afternoon, we're going to talk about GradeMark. I've been using GradeMark for actually a long time. When I was at Clarion University, I used it for 10 years. When I came to Delhi, I noticed that not a lot of people were using GradeMark as an alternative way to grade their papers, and so that got me interested in sort of why, and I think it's just not understanding the process. And so hopefully with a little bit of information, maybe it'll light a fire that you'd like to grade in a different way, in a different manner. And I think it's more efficient and time-saving, and I hope you'll find that to be true as well for yourself. I'm going to share my screen now. We'll see what we got here. Should be here. Okay. You start out by creating a Turnitin 2 assignment. The important thing to remember when you're creating the assignment is that when you have to assign a grade, something in the grade category. So the drop-down box usually says uncategorized. It'll say assignments. It'll say discussion boards, or whatever else you have as a category. Make sure you pick something, because if you pick uncategorized, you're not going to get a grade in the grade book. Nothing will go there. So that's important when you're setting that up. So I'll double click on this and we'll see. We have some, let's see if I can, there. You can see here what it looks like when you double click on it. What you normally see is over here, in that you usually upload all your papers from this area. But instead, what you'll do is come down here into this area, and all your papers will be here. Right now, I have 2 students. I have Darth Maul and Han Solo, because John Horner is very fond of Star Wars, and so those are the students that I've gotten. Something that I want to make you aware of is when you're looking at this is that, of course, these are the originality scores, and you can see that Han Solo is a major plagiarizer as well as Darth Maul, but we'll have to live with that for now. But I wanted to draw your attention to this right here, the difference between this dot and this person check. This means that Han Solo has picked up his paper and reviewed it. This means that this paper has not been viewed by the student because it hasn't been graded by me. So that's a neat thing that you can tell when the student has gone in and looked at what you've written and seen their paper. So I like that. But let's go in to see Darth Maul's paper and see how he's doing on his annotated bibliography. The first thing that when you come in is you're going to have to click, you're in sort of in a no man's land. just click on GradeMark, and it starts it up. Over here is your control panel. Along the bottom is where is your toolbar. And I'll be going over these each individually. We'll start with quick marks and then talk about text and voice commenting. We'll talk about quick marks comment. It's a way for the students to see all the comments on the paper at once. And then the grading rubric. So let's go here to quick marks. You can see here that I've created my own quick marks. If you click on the sort of looks like a drop-down box, there's all these areas of marks. So if I click on commonly used, it's going to show me all this. And if I click on composition, it's going to show me composition marks. If I click on format, it's going to show me formatting marks, etc. So instead of clicking around, I created my own specific set, and I'll show you how to do that later. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is how to make comments on the paper. There's first and foremost two ways. In this text up here, you can either do all text commenting, which means when you come over to the paper, it's going to just, I'm a terrible typist, by the way, so hang in with me. So you can type all you want, and it's just going to keep going. Anywhere you click, it'll create a text box, and you can write in it. But I much prefer using my bubbles, and this is where all this comes in. So say, for instance, say for instance that this heading or cover page was wrong. I get a lot of incorrect cover pages. So all I have to do is go over here and click this and drag it over here. And you can see that it is attached to this now. When you open it up, when you just roll over it, you can see that I'm telling them their cover page is in the wrong format. See the APA example on the course cover page, and then I tell them below what it is. I can associate this criterion, if I want to anything on my grading rubric. I can associate this to like APA and grammar. And so if I click off of it, if I scroll off of it, then it just stays there. So let's see, we'll go down a little bit more. Let's say we click on this section of text, we have an issue with it. Maybe we want them to do a citation. So it'll say improper citation, improperly cited material. And if I want to edit this, that's the other thing I wanted to show you, is that I can add additional comments down here. I can also change the color of the comment that I'm putting. So if I want to add other things there other than what improper citation is, then I can write in there and say, you know, use this website or something like this. Okay, and then just save that, and it'll be there like forever whenever you go to cite. The nice thing I like about this is that it attaches it to your comment. So you can move this around wherever, and it's going to attach it to that exact area. So when the student comes in and goes to scroll over it, they're going to see this, and it's going to open up, and it's going to tell them any comments or what improper citation is. Other things that I have in here are that, let's see, I have a problem with people who don't know that 3 sentences are a paragraph. So I created this. You can create your own marks. And how you do that is you start out with a general comment mark. And let's say that we wanted to say bold all but first heading. We can associate the criterion if we want to APA and grammar. We can save it as a new quick mark and give it a name. So we're going to say bold all but first. We'll call it that. And I'm going to save it under Julie's marks. You can see that if you drop it down, you can save it anywhere here. So I'm going to save that, and it's going to go over here. And you should be able to see it. Where is it? Bold headings, don't bold. I put it in there somewhere. Oh, bold all but first. There it is. Okay. So that's the way that I most commonly comment on my students' papers, is that I go through and highlight and then drag things over. And then you just have to, that's what you do. You can go just read through the paper, and if you are having problems, you know, I have these are all the things that I typically use when I grade my students' papers. And so it's very quick and easy to just highlight that text and just click on that, and then it's attached. If I wanted to, I could, you know, then write in text as well. So I go back and forth, but mostly I just highlight and use the comments. If I need, and as I need to create new marks, I do. So that's the quick marks. If you want to manage your quick marks, you just go up here to where the wrench is. Anywhere you see a wrench will give you a help. So you want to click on that wrench, and you can see that my Julie's marks is active. And if I wanted to say, for instance, go to composition and add insert into that, I would just highlight that, go to actions, add to set, add to Julie's marks, and it's there. So now insert is in my list. So you can also do that by creating a new set that way as well. So if you need any help, the help button is down here at the bottom, and it is great help. They give you lots and lots and lots of information on exactly the subject that you need based on where you clicked on the wrench. So we'll close out of this. The second thing...
Julie, can I ask a real quick question before we get off the sets?
Sure.
So with the set, with the when you're setting it up the first time, and because I'm sure most of us would want to have our own personalized set, so you're not jumping back and forth with the most commonly used ones.
Right.
You can add in, I know you showed us you can add anything, but when you first set it up the first time, does it come with all of those sets on the left, and you can just drag and drop over into your own set, and it comes with all the criteria like we saw on yours where it had the plagiarism website?
Like
edit that in?
Like I went back in, I clicked on the wrench, and here I said I want to add a set. okay? And I'm going to call it, I'll call it Julie 2. Okay, and I'm going to save this. Now, right now, there's nothing in it. So, so we're going to make this set active. Now, if I click on commonly used and I want all of these, I can say select all, and then I can go to actions and say add to set, commonly used, or add to set. No, sorry about that. It should have been add to set. Back down here. Sorry about that. Marks. Commonly used. Cancel. I just had it. Select all. Actions. Add to set. And we get down to Julie 2. Okay. And then when we go back to Julie 2, all the commonly used are in there. Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah. I was looking to see if we could add more than one set, and then it would just become this very great, long, comprehensive set, and then we can add in our own sort of most commonly used additionally. So that's great. Thank you.
Right. You can put anything in there that you want. You can delete it from here as well. So, and you can also, the other thing is that if you've created your own in here, like I put incorrect cover page, I can edit it in here. Say, for instance, that I wanted it to say something completely different, then, you know, I might want to say also see Writing Center. So I can do that and save it. And then that's how you update your the ones that you've created. The one thing that I think that I would change if I could is, let's see, this is one of theirs. This is if you had a comma splice, you can't edit ones that belong to Turnitin. So sometimes, like they have for improper citation to go to www.plagiarism.org. Well, I'd rather them go to the OWL at Purdue. So I created my own for improper citation that I use that doesn't have this because I can't edit it. That's the one thing that I don't like about it. But do we have any other questions before I close out of this? No? Okay. So that's basically how you, how I give feedback on the paper. When it comes to the grading part, this is a grading form. There's two types of rubrics that are in Turnitin at GradeMark, and that is a grading form or a rubric. That is this is a quantitative grading form, and their rubric is qualitative. So qualitative being, you know, this is excellent, this is good, this is fair, this is 0. You get no points for this. And so it would be more like on a scale rather than points. But we operate on points, and so I like to use grading forms. Again, you see the toolbar up here, the wrench, and that's going to take you into being able to create these and edit them and delete them and attach them to your assignments. So I'll talk to you about this. For this assignment, I'll tell you first about what you're seeing in front of you. For this assignment, we had an introduction, and then I have APA grammar. It's an annotated bibliography. Then they had to have 3 articles, and that was worth 25%. and the type of article that they identified had to be correct. And then they had to talk about the aim, the question, problem, or hypothesis, the design or method, the findings, and the limitations. The way these are set up is that your actual criteria is under the I. So as I go down, I can see what I've written. See, there's an accurate identification of the type of article used with quantitative or qualitative characteristics. So at this point, I've gone through this person's paper, and you can see in these balloons, it'll say if I've given them any criterion, then they'll show up in the balloon. So I did give a criterion for APA and grammar to that one comment, if you remember. So it shows up in the balloon as 1. If you did 5 of those, there would be a 5 there. If you did 3, there would be a 3 there. If you just click on it, click to view the 1 mark associated with APA and grammar, 10%. So there it goes. Microsoft cover, insert cover page. Cover page is wrong format. See sample APA on course. So it'll show them the whole thing if you click on show. So that's, I think, a really cool thing. The other thing is that you write in each of these sections. You can write about their introduction. You can say their intro, was fantastic. And you can give them points then, and then the points will just add themselves up as you go down. So we'll give them 10% for that. We'll say something nice about their APA and grammar, or something bad. We'll say that, their articles are in good shape. Give them 25% for that. We shouldn't give them 10% for APA because they're really crappy at that. Okay, we'll give them 5. And then give them 5% here. And the aim, give them 5% there. And then you can see this just starts, it just adds up for you. So this person ended up with an 80%. Then all you do is you apply the score to the grade. You can see it up here in the corner, what the person got, and it goes straight to the grade book. So that's it. Basically, that's how you would grade a paper. Now I want to show you about the rubrics, more in depth about them.
So Julie, we have a couple of questions before we move on to that.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and I'll read them to you so you don't have to jump off your screen. But so Marcia is asking, if we update a mark, does it automatically upgrade to all the papers, even ones that have already been graded?
No. No.
Okay, and Amy actually has a question that I had as well, which was, do your customizations cross over to all of the courses that you teach? Like, will your Julie 1 and Julie 2 come with you regardless of what you're teaching?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that's instructor specific, not course specific.
Exactly.
And
exactly. So whatever I'm in, like when I go to teaching and learning, even my grading rubrics go with me. All my grading rubrics go with me. And all my grade marks go with me, no matter what course I'm in, as long as I'm using GradeMark.
Okay, and then, so Amy also asked, must you use Turnitin in order to access the GradeMark features? And I think the answer to that is yes, because it's Turnitin tool, right?
Yes, yes. And there is a way, and this is something I haven't explored because I don't have an iPad, but there is a way to use Turnitin on an iPad and to use it offline to grade your papers. And then when you go back in to GradeMark, it updates everything, grades it, puts the grades all in the grade book, and loads your papers. So if I had an iPad, I would do it that way, but I don't. So.
Okay. And Marcia's asking, are grades always based on percentages? So in our program, like I know our rubric is a 100-point rubric, but this looks like it's percentage, but it's percentage points equal data points. Is there a point option, I think is what Marcia's asking?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
There is. When you build the rubric, you can decide how you want to put it.
Okay, and I know you're moving on to rubrics next, but I'm assuming if, like in our program where we have several different people teaching the same course with standardized rubrics, that those would get done out of design and would just populate that way?
Exactly. So
Okay.
that's basically what I did, was pull in those little eyes, what was in the rubric was the actual wording of what the student needed to do, you know, an accurate idea of the research aim, question, problem, or hypothesis. So I built it from the actual rubric.
Okay, great. That is all the questions that are in chat for now, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to open this, and you can see that there is a line through the hyperlink mark. I will click on this to show you what happens. It's asking me if I want to detach this rubric from this assignment. If I said yes, it would take that away. So, but I'm not going to say yes, I'm going to say no. But that's what that means. Over here are, these are all the rubrics that I've created. So you can see I have some in there for teaching and learning, like teaching strategies, research proposal, professional performance, personal nursing philosophy, and then I have my annotated bibliography ones. All you do is click on, they either have create a new rubric, which is the quantitative rubric. So we can click on that, and you can see here where you can put your criterion in, and then you can scale it, and you have your percentages down this way. We typically in the nursing department don't grade this way, and so I didn't make one for today. I apologize if somebody had a great interest in it, but I can give you more information on it if you personally wanted some. But you can see down here the standard rubric scales, it tells you this is a percentage. You can turn that off or on, and then put the actual amounts, points in each, or take it out completely. So it's actually very functional. And close out of that.
And Julie, Amy's asking, do all of the assignments have to have rubrics in order to use GradeMark, or are we able to do them without a rubric assigned to them for the feedback option?
Yeah, you can not use a grading rubric. You can just put the grade in. So say if you're doing something like pass fail, you know, where you might use maybe an example would be my students in research go and they do a ethics, NIH ethics, it's a tutorial. And so they just drop a screenshot in to tell me that they've completed it. I could go into GradeMark and just give them a 0 or 100 based on the fact that they've either turned it in or haven't turned it in. And I wouldn't have to create a grading form or a rubric for it. So yeah, you can do that. But typically I'm using a grading form.
Okay, but it will let you do feedback without a grade. It'll let you go in and give all that feedback
Yes.
from the templates. And
Yes.
then Terry's just asking if at some point, if it's not something we're going to cover, can we show how the students will actually see everything? Like, we know we're in faculty mode, but can you show what the grade and the feedback will look like to what the student view will?
Yeah, when I'm done here in a minute, I will show you what we'll log into either Han Solo or Darth Maul, and I'll show you what the what it looks like from the student side. so you can see. Okay, so down here, what the students don't see is, and you will see this when I go into student view, is I believe it's the quick mark box they don't see. So after I'm done with my grading form and I filled that out and given them all feedback, then you can go in here and it says this paper is 10 pages long, and it'll tell them how many grade marks are on each page of the paper. So that's another way for them to get to the grid, and it'll show them. If you click on it, it'll just show them all at once, and they don't have to actually pop all over the paper. So I found that to be interesting. But the other thing that I use a lot here is just the general text comment, and that's just entering like a general, you know, you started out very well with this paper, and blah, 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 and you have 5,000 words, which I've always found to be just plenty. And the other thing they have here is that you can enter a voice comment. If I could figure out why the microphone isn't. Usually the microphone is highlighted. I don't know why it's being this way. Maybe it's, that's why, because I didn't save my comment. Haha. Okay, so you click on the microphone. Of course, you have to allow your computer to access your microphone. Close it out, and then it's recording my voice. So I'm telling the student what I want to tell them, and then I just click stop when I want to stop it, upload it, and it saves it. And if I don't like it, I can just click on the garbage can and discard it. If I want to hear it again, I can just play it. And then we're back to the quick marks. So if we want to go to our next paper, all we do is click on this arrow up here, and we go to paper 2. This one I've already graded, and so you can see that the grade is there, and there's some of the quick marks and the pages that they're on. I gave them a text comment. I did not give them a voice comment. And you can basically just scroll through the paper and see where these marks are. So I think it's great. I've always had real positive response from the students with this, because when you mark up the paper in Word, there's all these lines and bubbles that are going everywhere, and it sometimes can look like a bloodbath. I try to change the color of the ink. I still think it looks like a purple bloodbath, but I think it's more direct, and it doesn't have like all this delete, 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 delete kind of things that happen when you're in, like, you know, markup format in Word. So.
Okay, thank you.
Do the students have the option, once you get your grades on it, because I know we tell them to save a lot of their work, and if we upload this into a regular grade book like some of us do currently with a Word doc, they can download it from there and save it. They have that same option here through Turnitin?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I'll show you. We're going to go back out here. So you can see here is where they can upload and download their papers. So when they get their papers back, they see these same buttons, and they can upload and download from this area. But the other thing I wanted to tell you that's very important is that the way the students get their papers back is by you changing the date. So you have a start date, a due date, and a post date. The post date means that's the day and time that you're going to post the grades. Until then, the students can't see anything. So you have to think about that when you're, when you say the papers are ready to be picked up, because of course, if you don't set the date right and the time right, then they're all going to be yelling at you. So if that's easy to do, all you do is click on the pencil, and you can change that to any date or time that you need to, and it makes it very simple. You can do the same thing with the due dates and the start dates and the marks available.
So the mark date, Julie, is sort of similar to keeping a Dropbox closed until, so like I could work on something on Tuesday, but if it's not past the post date, the students won't be able to see works in progress if I start and stop a paper.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Exactly. So let's log me out. I can get this box is in my way. There it goes. I'll log me out. And we'll go be, let's be Han Solo. Let's see. I remember his. Okay, here's Han. Let's see, he's down here in this mess somewhere. There we are. Okay, so this is what it looks from the student side. It's thinking. Okay. So you can see here that what the student sees is the digital receipt. So that's always there. That's there so that if there's any question on when they drop the paper in or if they need a copy of it, it's always there. So they can always view that digital receipt. They can print it out and they can do a screenshot of it. To get back into their paper, all they'd have to do is click on that, on their paper. They do need to click on GradeMark. There's a couple learning curves here for the students. One is that it always defaults to your text comment box when it first opens. And you can see that they right away see that there's commenting on here. They can go to this box and see how many comments they have on each page. And then they can go to the grading rubric where it's going to give them, I filled out this grading rubric much better. And I gave them individual feedback. He got a 95. And you can see that he had 7 APA and grammar issues, which is why he lost 5 points. So if I click on that, it's going to show all the ones that I gave him. So he doesn't even have to go through the paper if he doesn't want to. So down here at the bottom, they can print the paper out or download it. And the other thing that, I don't know if I can do it here. Yeah, if you want rid of the GradeMark box, you can, if you want more room to work on your paper, you can actually hide the sidebar if some of your boxes are getting in the way. The other thing, I don't know if I can show in here. Yeah, the originality report will actually be highlighted. This was a 40% 100% plagiarized paper. So of course every part is pink. But the interesting thing that I love is when I turn on the originality when I'm in grading mode, is I'll be able to highlight all of this text and say, this, are you plagiarizing here? Is this a problem? Are we going to have a problem? You know, because, you know, when you're using person's words, word for word, this is plagiarism. And I think it really teaches them a lot about that as well. I'm sorry I didn't show you that when I was in the other format. Does anybody have any questions about the student format?
Julie, have you noticed in the grade, like in our actual Benko Hall Moodle gradebook, it moves pretty seamlessly and you haven't had any math issues even with the upgrade of the
No.
in?
Nope, I haven't had any problems. The grades are there, just like I set them up.
Okay, and Terry's asking, when students access their paper, will they be able to see the grade or will they not see the grade until they open the paper? She's asking because she didn't see the grade on the main page.
Right. That's something that John Horner and I are in the midst of discussing, because yes, I do usually see the grade in that line right here. Typically the grade would be there. Now, I don't know if I was reading that there might be an issue where, you know, all the papers have to be graded before and past the post date before the grades appear on this line. And I've now graded all the papers and it's still not showing up. So I'm not sure what the problem is today. But typically, yes, that 95 should be here.
Okay, and then Terry's other question is an accessibility issue. Do we know about Turnitin with like screen readers? Can students with visual problems see the feedback this way?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's something I'd have to research and get back to her with.
I would think though you could probably use the audio option in that case, right? You might be able to just give your verbal feedback.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I would think that it would read the text. I'm not sure how it would pick up the comments. You know, the bubbles. So that's something that I will look into.
And then Julie, as far as you know, with setting it up, because I'm thinking about it in the bigger picture, and for any faculty that are not nursing faculty, we have master design courses that populate out to all of the faculty that are teaching a certain course, regardless of the section. So if you make an update in design in your Turnitin rubric, it will just pop, you won't have to go into each section unless it's after rollover to make sure that that's correct, right? It should just automatically
Right.
when you change the due dates in design or whatever.
Right. And when you're building your rubrics, you have permissions. You can actually give your rubrics to like everybody if you want to. So if I, as a course coordinator for research, if I wanted to develop a rubric and give it to everybody who teaches my course, then I can do that. I just need to give them permissions and, you know, they'll be able to attach the.
And does it give them an editing option as well, or does that only come out of whoever the originator is on the rubric?
Depends on the permission. You can give them permission to edit, or you can give them permission just to use.
Okay, I was just thinking if we, you know, sometimes we realize midway through a session that there's a glitch somewhere. And so, you know, if we wanted to say to everybody, okay, go in and fix that, is that something everybody would have the authority to sort of do at that point?
If you give them that permission, they will have it. Any other questions? Okay, well, that's all I had to say today. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Julie. This was really informative, and I think it'll be interesting to see how people use it in their courses and the kind of feedback that they get from the students. I think your student feedback has been good and assuring for everybody. So thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Does it work? Marcia's asking quickly, does it work for other types of assignments?
Like, give me an example.
Right. Like, okay, so I'm like, I had a
PowerPoint?
Yeah, like PowerPoint. I know that the Turnitin now accepts PowerPoints.
Yeah, it does now.
So you could do a rubric for that and do it through there as well. Okay, Marcia,
Yes.
was there a different type of assignment you were thinking of other than PowerPoint or a traditional paper?
No.
Discussions or websites? So it would
Yeah.
have to be something that goes into the Dropbox, right, in order for it to be
Yes.
accessed?
Yeah. It has to go into the Dropbox. A Dropbox.
Right. All right, great. And I guess if anyone else has additional questions once we wrap up, they can always email Julie directly
Oh,
as well.
yeah, definitely. londonje@delhi.edu.
Great. Julie, thank you so much. I'll have this uploaded on the professional development site, again, for anybody that wants to share it within their department or just to check back for sort of this great little tutorial that you did for us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks.